paper, that melody that sways your mind to persuade and to believe revolutionary theories. There's no doubt that the sensual experience a book delivers to its readers helps them absorb material through and through.
Of course. Of course. It does cost a few trees though, doesn't it? With the future brimming with the constant use of technology, why do we dwell in the past when we can thrive in the future? E-books are the future of reading. With the integration of cameras, voice recorders and speakers onto your mobile phones, why not have the entirety of human knowledge at the palm of your hand?
Well, congratulations for removing the emotion from something so dear to people for centuries. Besides, do you think making your tablets and phones is a very eco-friendly process? Think of all the mining for material and human rights violations that lie behind the making of your e-book.
I think we can keep digging up points to counter each other. But let's put a halt to our argument and listen to what the panel has to say about this. I humbly request Professor Chandrasekhar Sir, Senior Professor Emeritus and former Director of C.D. Purani, who is our chairperson for today's panel discussion on print books and versus e-books, to introduce our panelists to the audience today and conduct the panel discussion.
Okay. Good afternoon, everybody. It's late afternoon, and I think we have nice chirping of birds that we can overhear above our mics. So it's a really good setting for reading. Welcome everybody to this panel discussion session on print books versus e-books. Let me begin by introducing the panelists. So we have 4 panelists from faculty side, we have 4 panelists from student side. So to my extreme left is Professor Pratik Sheth from Chemical Engineering Department, WITS. Then to his right is Professor Rishikesh Vaidya from the Physics Department. Then to Professor Vaidya's right is Professor Devika from the Humanities and Social Sciences Department. And then to my left is Professor Jennifer Ranjani. She is from the Computer Science Department of WITS. Okay, then to my immediate right is Anushka Gupta. Anushka, which is your discipline you have to do?
I study MSc Economics and BE Electronics and Instrumentation.
Ask because I do not know your subject affiliations. Can I ask you to introduce yourself?
Hi, my name is Gaurav Sharma and I'm in pharmacy.
Hi, I'm Mitul Sharma and I'm physics and triple.
Hi, I'm Soumit Roy and I'm pursuing civil engineering.
So friends, on this extremely interesting topic, I can say that when I was a little kid, books were rare to come by, and people used to buy second-hand books even for textbooks. And any kind of extra reading was extremely difficult to get by, and sometimes you had to walk 2-3 kilometers to spot a public library if there was a public library at all. So from those days to this era of technology, when you have everything on your fingertips, we have e-books. But then, has the charm of print books gone out? Do e-books look like replacing the print books? What are the strong points of e-books? What are the strengths of the conventional print books? How do people at different age groups, people working in different disciplines, people having different kind of reading habits, how do they feel about it? So it would be a very interesting panel discussion. I would ask panelists initially to make comments on that. So I would begin by asking Professor Jennifer Ranjani to be the first to comment. 3 minutes for you. I'll be asking one from left, one from right, eventually going in that order. So Ranjani, can we have your views on this e-books versus print books. It isn't a debate, so no panelist is forced to take a side, but express his opinion on what they feel about the subject.
Good evening, everyone. So, I'm going to talk about printed books. First of all, one thing came to my mind is you will value something only when you have a kind of ownership over that product. Okay, so you have to have some kind of psychological ownership to value some service or product. Okay, so when I compare book and e-book, what comes to my mind is e-book is just a concept. Okay, so it is a concept, it is a service, but I don't feel kind of a ownership over the e-books. And also the next thing is that books, if I keep my book with myself, it is very selfish. So if I do a Kindle subscription or something, I don't share my Kindle subscription to my family. So I don't give my, like let us take, there is a grandfather. So he will definitely pass over his printed books to his son or his grandchildren. It's kind of a legacy that is being passed over generations. But nobody says, beta, here is my Kindle username and password. Hereafter you take care of it. Okay, so even though he takes care of it, he has to pay the subscription. So there is nothing like an emotional attachment to it, mentioning that my grandfather gave me a Kindle subscription, so it is very fresh. So that kind of sharing happens when you have printed books. And also when we shared within family, so you can easily, like I buy a book, 1 month it will be there with my sister, next week it will be with my aunt. So it is easier to share books. But recently Kindle is also allowing people to share their books. So that is kind of restricted. So 2 weeks you can share. And after 2 weeks, it comes back to you. No matter your friend has completed or not, after 2 weeks, it comes back to your Kindle. So it is kind of not so good in sharing, right? He will be halfway through and it's back to your login. So sharing is definitely a problem with ebooks. And one important thing is that when I go through my book, the texture and the paper and the fragrance and the illustration, that touches me. But the Kindle is very static. There is no kind of emotion linked to the ebook. But people may argue that recently there are some kind of animations even involved with the book. So you can have even create 3D pages for Kindle. But when I read the book, I create the character on my mind. Okay, so I give a particular personality to a character. I create the environment that he is working on. So it invokes my creative imagination when I read through a book. But if a Kindle already gives me a 3D page and an animated page, what is left for imagination? Nothing is left for imagination. So that is kind of a bad thing, because we read books so that our kids are more creative. So never can a ketchup be a vegetable. So you can have a high quality ketchup, but still it is a ketchup, not a vegetable. So that is the thing with the printed books. And last I would like to say that I have a son. So he watches mobile, TV, everything. So he is having a lot of screen time. So I find the printed books as a kind of a deviation for reducing his screen time. So I don't want to get his eyes spoiled by giving him a Kindle and then still read it. So in that way I prefer print. So that is my stand. So one thing is that any book without creating an experience is not like a book. So your book has to create an experience, and that experience can be created only when they are in the printed formats. That is my point of view. Thank you.
Thank you, Jennifer. I think being from computer science, I would have expected something that would favor the e-books from Jennifer, but Jennifer raised very pertinent points and we will have a discussion on them. But then let me ask Anushka Gupta.
Yeah. Hello. So, whenever I think about why I like reading books and what was the first book I read and what drew me to books, it was obviously the coolness of books. Books make somebody cool. A well-read person is very cool. So, the initial charm of a book is obviously the page, the cover, and the shine and the thickness. Thickness intimidates, like the thickness of the book. But as I start reading, and obviously, if I could, I would buy all the paperbacks and no ebooks. But then I feel the guilt of destroying trees. And paperbacks have an expiry date. They turn yellow pages and the covers go rough and spider webs are found on their edges after some time when we take them out. But that is obviously not the case with ebooks. They can live as long as we want them to live. So yeah, one of the main things that probably are not favoring paperbacks is the space they take, the deforestation probably they cause, and but that is not the case with ebooks. But then again, there is the screen time that I have to spend to read an ebook. For example, obviously now the Kindle screen technology is changing. There are screen types that are not as harmful to our eyes as the TV or the laptop. But even I'm also including PDFs in ebooks. So even those who don't have Kindles download the PDFs, and it's totally different that they cause copyright issues and piracy issues and illegal sites to download books. So this is something that I don't like about ebooks. But let me come to textbooks. Like we all are in a college, we all are more used to textbooks than other novels and stuff. So we really need to underline and solve and tick mark. So for textbook purposes, I think paperbacks are very ideal. But again, we also need to have the ebooks because I'll share a textbook in an electronic format with so many people at once, and I obviously cannot do that with paperbacks. Ma'am just mentioned about the legacy the books have. So, but one thing that I am not very sure about that part is, so, if I have some books and I want to share them with my siblings, I can share one book with one person at a time. But that is not the case with PDFs or ebooks because that makes it very convenient. Another thing that I mentioned and is obviously on all of our minds is the fragrance that is associated with paperbacks. I think that is very charming and very, they call you for them. So even here, there are so many books and all of them, for example, I am a person who would like to buy so many books and I am not sure that I read all of them. But that is costly also, and these days we see that there are so many discounts and rebates on ebooks. So I think time asks us and technology asks us to spend less on paperbacks, to produce less of paperbacks and more of ebook. But again, I'm pretty sure with time we'll also have some technology that we'll be able to turn pages with our own hands in ebooks also. I'm pretty sure in 10-20 years we'll have that. That's all I'd like to say.
Thank you. I'm reminded of a small conversation I think I'll end there, where I was discussing with a friend on the same subject, and he told me, you would rather, if you had money, buy a Picasso painting, or you would like to buy a picture of Picasso painting on it that you can see on a screen. I think Picasso is unaffordable, but yes, if one had money, I'm sure the answer would be would like to buy the Picasso and not a screen display of Picasso painting. But that's for, that's just for fun. Let us now go to Professor Devika to have her views on the subject.
Thank you, sir. Good evening, everybody. I once heard somewhere that if you have an apple and the other person has an apple and you exchange it, both of you still have one apple. But if you have an idea and another person have an idea, then, and you share it, then both of you have two ideas. So regarding the ebook, if you have an ebook and you share it with somebody, then he has also it and you have also it. Regarding the printing book, either you have it or the other person can have that particular book. Over the years, in the recent last 5 years, the most charming thing about ebooks is that, control F option. You forget something and then you type that word and immediately you can find out wherever you want to go to that. Something that's not allowed in hard drive. And as both the speakers, they pointed out about a point named legacy, I'd like to share one thing. My father, my grandfather and my great-grandfather, they had the books and I have got all of them in legacy. When you flip through the pages and when you find that the notes are scribbled on the corners, I feel connected to them. I get to know about them, so when they talk about the passing on the legacy, that I agree perfectly. The quality of the pages, the imprints they have, I not only get the knowledge from the book, but also the knowledge about my own lineage, the way the books are kept. Another thing that I find very fascinating about the books is the paper and the material used. If I'm not mistaken, if you look at the original part of Bhagavad Gita, then it has a brown cloth covering. So that is a different kind of fascination. The format is also layout is very different. Encyclopedias are different kind of pictorial quality and page quality. Other books are different. And if you have something that is probably 50 years old, then you would find that very refined wood and paper quality is there that's entirely different than that. And it's not that we have that, it keeps on changing from regions and places. You lay your hands on the books that are published in Russia for that particular matter, and the paper quality is extraordinarily different. You almost glide through the pages, the touch, the feel, the sense. Illustrations, scribbling, notes, apart from that, what is in print is there's a great temptation to see, touch, possess and then flip through the pages. Something that lacks somewhere when you have a book because only one of the pages is visible or you have to scroll this and that. You cannot hold the complete e-text in the hand, something that allows you to be in personal touch with the book. Another simple aspect about the teaching or the learning or book reading is that when morals are there and you wish to share it with somebody and you scribble down something on the part of it, you're also setting a foundation where it might be used by the other person as she read, or according to my opinion, I agree to whatever she said, that as a legacy it cannot be passed on. I am sharing myself through the books. And I share the opinions, feelings of everybody when I talk about e-books or the print books. Hand off one over the another, probably something crops up in between and at one point of time one is better in the given circumstances, at another point of another one is better, but I would appreciate the fact that e-books are an extension of the print books and probably in future we can get or come across other types also where we can have an access to the information in probably all the possible ways. Auditory also. It's not only e-books in written form, but auditory also where you can listen to the voice nuances and that gets your immediate attention. So let us be open to all the ways of sharing a good story and welcome it with all our hearts. Thank you.
Thank you, Devika ji, for sharing your views. It's kind of interesting, and suppose it's a question.
So just a second.
The content of an e-book and a print book would be identical. The information content. And yet, we seem to have a preference sometimes for, let's say, print book. Some people probably would have a preference for e-book. So what it probably means is that we just don't read a book merely for its information, that some kind of a sense of belonging, some kind of a sense of, attachment also develops with the book, and you start saying, this is my book. And of course, when you scribble something or you note down, or if you happen to read a book that your grandfather read, 60 years later, that book is handed over to you and you see his handwriting over there on those slightly, yellow turned pages, you get a very different feeling. There is an emotional connect. So any physical object has the same amount of information, but somehow it has something more. And I think as humans that may also appeal to us, that does seem to appeal to us. But let us go ahead with Mitul to hear his views.
So just a second, sir. I request everyone please maintain some silence. This is an ongoing panel discussion. Thank you.
Hi. I'll start by giving an example of how music industry developed and then draw the similarities between ebooks and self-publishing. Okay. So initially, only a select few record labels had the power to choose who would be going out and becoming a big musician because they had the equipment which was needed for recording, and it wasn't available to musicians everywhere. But since then, we have, due to advancement in technology, what initially needed these equipment, now we can just simply do it with software. So this has resulted in formation of a golden age of music industry where musicians can reach out their audience more easily. Ebooks have something of given a similar thing to authors. By self-publishing, they can go out and tell their stories to their audience. They don't need publishers to validate their work. To give an example, I would tell you the story about Rupi Kaur. She's a Canadian Indian poet who had been writing poems since she was a teenager. Initially, she was sharing her work anonymously, but then she started writing it under her own name, and she also did writing courses. And she asked her professor, "How can I get published?" He told her that you can't get published in this age. To have a book published of poetry is very difficult. What you can do is you can start sharing your poetry to magazines and newspaper, and then make your way forward. She tried doing that, and she kept getting rejection after rejection. So after a while, she realized that she's doing a disservice to her work. Her poems are not solitary works, they are like a body of their own. So what she did was she just compiled them and self-published it. And that was the right choice because she became a New York Times bestseller with 2.5 million books sold. If she hadn't done that, she hadn't had that opportunity or that way to get her book published by self-publishing and ebooks to sell it, we might have lost on a really talented author. And I'd also like to point out my own story that in first semester, what happened was my parents had given me the money to buy the books, but I felt that I could use that somewhere else. So what I did was I used that money, I saved it up, and I bought myself a phone. And for the books, what I did was I installed PDFs from DC++. Plus, over the course of the semester, what I learned was that you don't actually need the books. Most of your examinations are closed books, like the tutorial tests and stuff like that. You only need open books at the end, in the comprehension, and even in that you don't need the whole books. What you need is just a select few pages, which you can get printed later on. But by using PDFs, I realized that yes, the Control F feature, you can go and find that stuff much more quicker than you can do in a physical book. Plus, there are also you can highlight stuff, you can also set bookmarks, and a lot of other things. Plus, it's really hard to read books in the dark, which I learned when I was 14. I had bought my first book, it was Hunger Games, and I had decided that what I will do is I'll read only 100 pages or 50 pages a day, and I'll cherish this book. But Hunger Games is a series. If you've read it, you realize that once you start reading it, you just can't put it down. So what happened was I started reading in the evening, and I just wanted to read it through the night, but my mom wouldn't have allowed me. So I was reading it under the blanket with a torch, and it was really difficult. Afterwards, I've only been reading on my phone with ebooks. Yeah, so I think I've read way more ebooks than I've read physical books, and I found that they're much more convenient.
Thank you, Gaurav. So at least we have one young man rooting for ebooks, more or less, right? But then let us move to my left and let us hear Professor Rishikesh again.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, so both ebooks or print books are largely a means towards an aim that they provide you a window into the author's mind. These are two different means towards that. Okay, however, they are very different in the sense that if the print books over a period of time you accumulate them, and storing and maintaining them is a big hassle. So, like I have been buying books since my school days, and have been building almiras to keep them. And I now figure that actually, beyond a point you cannot build more almiras. So where do you keep them? And when you travel, it becomes we have large number of cartons to ship, and you need to open the books periodically even after you have read them, to ensure that they don't collect so much of dust and allergens and all that. So that's a big hassle. So when I was in my school, I always imagined that can there be a technology which allows me to carry my entire bookshelf everywhere where I want, and I can choose and pick and read from wherever I stopped last time. And I never thought that time that this would be possible one day. So today I am actually in my Kindle carrying my entire bookshelf with me wherever I go. And what is that? So I must say that when we say ebooks, we must distinguish between the dedicated ebook readers such as Kindle and reading ebooks in a tablet or a computer or a cell phone, because the screen interface that a dedicated ebook reader provides is very different from the cell phone or a tablet. I think its effect on your eye and the strain on your eye is very different. Okay, so I think Kindle technology has matured quite a bit to provide almost a book-like experience with lot of advantages. A, the convenience of carrying all your books wherever you want, and for me, the biggest advantage that Kindle offers is, even after having been reading for last more than 2 decades, I feel that very often I need to find the word in the dictionary. So I just put my finger and it tells me what is the meaning. It also gives me a Wikipedia reference. If there is a new concept or a new figure that you read about, there is a Wikipedia reference immediately which opens. And moreover, I have a habit of highlighting the passages which I think are important or convey something to me. Now, highlighting is one thing I used to highlight even in my print books. Okay, but imagine if you are reading a non-fiction or a fiction, not a technical book, and if you have highlighted few passages on page number 57, 39, 184, large number of passages you have highlighted. Okay, there is no way for you to get back to them if you want to, because they are just small, continuous, homogeneous text, right? But with the ebook, all your highlights are saved in one file, and you can use the Control F and search and go to the highlight immediately there and then. So I have a habit of making notes from those books which I have read, and I keep coming back to them periodically. So this gives me a nice handle to precisely go at a point where I had made the highlights, and I can change my highlights. I can add more notes to my highlights. So I think this has immensely changed the way I read books. And physically, no matter how much I like physical books, I think I don't have almiras to keep them now. Thank you.
Thank you, Vikravedya. I think you put your finger. Cross-referencing, getting back, further back to referencing. I also was kind of a person who, while reading, if you don't understand a word, you obviously would like to look at the dictionary, or you would also like to get, some back reference to know as to what is the history behind a particular, the genesis of a particular word, or similarly, if there is a reading you are doing and some individual's name appears in the context, you would like to know more. So I think cross-referencing is something which is really, really good with with the e-books in any format. And of course, portability and pulling the books out of thin air continues to be an advantage. But then I had another view. This was really with a person who is a print publisher. And he said, look, there are two aspects to books. One is utility, and the other is elegance, beauty, all the aesthetics, everything else other than information. And he said, when you go to buy a bed sheet for your bed, do you just go for plain white because that would serve the purpose? But no, you look for color, you look for print, you look for texture, you look for what difference does it make? I mean, it would still cover your bed if it was white, but you still go. So the aesthetic part of it somehow doesn't seem to get captured in ebooks. I'm not saying ebooks have all the paintings, illustrations, everything, in fact more, because they have 3D effects and everything. But still, it seems there is some part of it that appeals to us which is not captured by the electronic medium as such. So you have the same flat screen which touches and feels the same way, and it is, as I said, the difference between a beautifully printed sheet where, or if you look at beautifully printed saris of all different origins that are bought, and a plain cloth that would also serve the purpose. I think let's ponder over that, but let us go ahead and listen to Mitul Shah.
Hello. So all the aspects, romantic aspects of the smell of books and the feel of the paper and everything have been highlighted pretty well, and as well the technical and the more pertinent issues which I feel related to the publishing industry have been highlighted pretty well by Gaurav. So now building on the romantic feel of things, there's one story which I would like to share with you. So this is a book by Divya Prakash Dubey. It's called Musafir Cafe, and I was reading it on a train journey. And it said, it's in Hindi, so the paragraph which struck me was, पता नहीं इससे पहले किसी ने कहा है या नहीं, लेकिन सब कुछ साफ साफ लिखना लेखक का काम थोड़ी ना है. थोड़ा बहुत तो पढ़ने वाले को भी किताब पढ़ते हुए साथ में लिखना चाहिए. ऐसा नहीं होता तो हम किताब में अंडरलाइन नहीं करते. किताब की अंडरलाइनिंग अक्सर वो फुल स्टॉप होता है जो लिखने वाला पढ़ने वाले के लिए छोड़ देता है, और अंडरलाइन करते ही किताब पूरी हो जाती है. And I wanted to underline this passage, but I was reading it on a Kindle, so yeah, I could highlight it, but I don't feel it's quite the same. So this was the, and then I was on the upper berth and my Kindle fell and it broke. So I was left with no books on a really long journey, which was sad. Anyway, so I think what printed books bring with them is a sort of a legacy that ma'am talked about, and we keep them in almiras as trophies, like things we've conquered of sorts. Like if there's a really big fat book which is a really difficult read but was an enjoyment at the end, I feel like having conquered something, and keeping that copy in my almirah, in the top shelf of my almirah for everyone else to see, I think is for me sign of a victory of sorts. And the thing with printed stuff and tangible things is much especially books, is much like photographs. So I have overdrives full of photographs from my high school to my fourth year, but still the ones that I scroll through and sift through are the ones I got from Adobe from my first year, mostly to find myself. But so I think the tangible things stay with us for basically there with us for a longer time, and we can go over them whenever we want to. Then like Sir talked about printed ebooks having the control F option. I think that it is a really good thing to have, but at the same time, if I'm not looking for a particular thing, if I just want to scroll through the pages of a book, just to find, not even to find anything, just to have a glimpse of the whole text, I think printed books would be a much better option because you can just whip through the whole stuff in like 5 minutes, which is not possible in an ebook. You have to scroll through a lot. It's a continuous text. Then Anushka talked about printed books being harmful to the environment and things like that. I think ebooks are not so much cleaner themselves. It's like when we talk about electric cars and the traditional cars, it's also about the energy where it comes from. So I think it's not about this or that. I don't believe that ebooks are the future or printed books are the future. I think the future is the future. And like ma'am said, that ebooks are an extension of the printed books, and that's probably the way it is. And that's about it. I think, and also Stephen King once said that the book is just a medium. It's just a distribution system. What matters is the content, and as long as you're reading, I think it's good enough. That's it.
Thank you, Midhun. I think while Midhun was speaking of the racks and racks of books, I just noticed around, we have an exhibition of books going on here for print books. I haven't seen an exhibition similarly laid out and visited by people of ebooks. It is kind of a hidden list somewhere in the publisher's archive. You can always visit it, but as an individual. But I don't think you can have this experience of books having been laid out across by multiple publishers and on tables and people, looking at the titles and figuring out what to look at. I think this ambience is something that one lacks. But honestly, I haven't seen an exhibition of ebooks. If somebody has seen, please connect me, let me know. But let us hear from Professor Pratik Sheth.
Before Dr. Pratik Sheth speaks, may I request all the people at the end to maintain the silence, please? I request everybody to please maintain the silence. The people at the end, I request everybody to maintain the silence. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Chandrasekhar. Good evening to everyone here. What are the points covered here, like, age of convenience, legacy, the fragrance of the possessing the book, ownership, the concern about the guilt of generating waste because trees getting cut. So there are so many things are discussed. My thoughts are also of the same domain. I would like to add to whatever they have said, and so basically I categorize my reading material into 3 domains. Like, one is related to the research related things, where what is happening in the world in the research articles and newsletters and something like that. So at a large, like, nowadays there is no subscription of printed materials. All our e-subscriptions are there, and we get the notifications, we download the articles, and it is like, so by and large you see that it is all electronic material, we have it. Second category I consider is the textbooks, prescribed textbooks, where we may not look for ownership, but because we need to get grades and we have to pass it, so I would like to, I need to procure it because I need to take it in an open book examination. Is that the only thing, or I really want it from that ownership point of view? So for the prescribed text too, if it is an ebook is there, my point is there, you can copy paste or convert those PDF into, let's say if you are studying computer programming and the code is given there, you cannot type whole code. Instead of that, if you have an ebook, you can simply copy paste the code into the MATLAB or the software, and then rather than writing it, you can exercise by changing that code and seeing the output of that. So my point is that if we can have, as the teaching point of view, studying point of view, if I see many small children's, they have so much, way of their bag. So if they can carry a small Kindle and as and when required, they open that would be a fantastic idea. Like, why to carry so much things? All NCERT books are available in a PDF format, right? And regarding the ease and convenience, already Dr. Vaidya told that, it is, there are two different things are there. One thing is you see it on an LED screen, which is the mobile phone or a laptop. And Kindle screen is little different, e-ink or something different is there. And the battery backup is also very good. It's like, I think, weeks, I guess, if I'm not right, if I'm not wrong. So, these are the things are there. But at the same time, my views are there different for the books I love to read out of my profession. And that is something, a novel, that may be a politics or a fiction or something which, or on social related issue, anything of that, which for that I certainly not learning something on a small scale or a localized learning, it would be a life learning lesson probably for me. That I really wanted to possess that and would like to go to the a printed version of that I would look for. And so these are the aspects of what my liking on the book and the different categories. Regarding one aspect as a chemical engineer I would like to share with you all is the effect on effect of print book and the e-book. We always feel that print book cutting trees, but if we do the systematic life cycle assessment, what do you mean by life cycle assessment? Is like if you create any product and you started from the raw material to the final product, what are the processing it has undergone? So if you see for a paper product, the trees are cut, the pulping process, so many chemicals are utilized, then so much water is utilized to wash the things, many chemicals for brightening agent, whitening agent, and then finally rolling in market. And it has to be packed in a proper way, then only it could be marketed. And so this is the process is there. At the same time, for e-book, there are so many minerals are utilized there, electricity is utilized there, right? So you have to see holistically that when I am utilizing a particular product, okay, same way with e-book, mineral let's see if water consumption is not there, but electricity consumption is there, mineral is getting consumed there, and you are creating electronic waste of the material or the phones or whatever the Kindle you are generating. Okay, once it is going to be outdated, what will you do with that? Or if it got broken by mistake, how you are going to handle it? Whereas it is not the case with so if I see the systematic analysis, certain report says that certain parts of life system on Earth gets affected more by e-book and certain systems of part gets more affected by the print. So both will go hand in hand. There is no clear-cut side that just this is the best or this is the best. So with this I'll restrict myself and thanks.
Thank you, Pratik, for bringing in the life cycle cost, if I may say so. It may be environmental cost, it may be cost to Mother Earth. And I don't know whether there is a systematic study. I do know that electronic waste is a big problem. But the energy consumption involved for the same amount of reading, whether the environmental destruction caused by that is greater for e-books or print books, I'm not aware. But that's a very important point to raise, that we also ought to do the lifetime analysis of what. So usual feeling is that anything which is more convenient is more destructive of the environment, but that need not be so forever as technology changes. But an interesting new development that would take place in e-books area very shortly, trials are being done, is through flexible electronics. Electronics guys are coming up with flexible electronic displays. So when flexible electronic display does make a mass appearance, I think the touch and feel aspect of the present flat kind of flat smooth surface always feel similar kind of e-books would change a little bit. But that's something we will see. Foldable books, books that you can keep in your pocket, books where you could actually have multiple pages actually appearing on multiple pages, not just one screen. Those kind of things are being tried. R&D in those areas is going on. So we will see, that will be another paradigm shift that will take place. But then let us hear from Soumitra Rai. So Soumitra, your views.
Being last on the panel has its own perks. The thing is that most of what the panel discussed are my views, and more than that, it's basically evolution. I remember the chapter on how books evolved, which we had in class 9, and it said that earlier we used to write on cloth, and then the paper got evolved, it got more smooth and stuff. So basically, I see ebooks as an extension or an evolution of print books. I cannot really pinpoint which one is better or not, but I prefer paperbacks for a lot of reasons. The thing is that while reading an ebook, it's so monotonous. Nothing gets shorter. The pages that are left to be read get shorter and shorter. It motivates you to finish through a boring book, and if it's a good book, you want to have it, as a possession, as a memory, and which is I must say more of a romantic aspect than utility. But and as was said about as Professor pointed out, that even ebooks has their own share of their own share of bad. They have they cause electronic pollution, which I must point out that is scientists have said that it is taking a bigger form than any of the pollution present on Earth, because it affects our universe as whole. Whereas other pollutions may stick to Earth, while the satellite waste and other problems, electronic waste it causes radiation, which in a way is more harmful than cutting off trees and stuff. And other thing is that whenever I'm reading a book, it's more than just the book that I'm reading. It's the whole experience of not only the fragrance and getting through a book, but it's a thing that ebook cannot achieve. At least for me, it's the same. Earlier we used to have that records and we used to have cassettes and stuff. Now we get everything is an MP3 player or an iPod. Similarly, earlier we had CDs for movies. Now we get it instantly on laptops. So it is more user friendly, I must say that, but it affects the industry that runs it, authors. They would really prefer if you read paperbacks than ebooks, because they are getting less money in ebooks. Same as the directors, they don't want their movies to be pirated a day after, pirated or released a day after on internet. So when we are taking joy in anything, we must respect the owner that made it. And I think by buying something in the way it was thought of by the maker, that is, I think, more ethical. But then, of course, then as the panel pointed out, ebooks has its own perks. It is easier to carry them. It is you can take them anywhere you want, as much as you want. So there is really no answer, but I think it's each for his own. We can choose what we like more, and that's basically it. Thank you.
Thank you, Soumitra. I think we will take some questions from the audience now before I give the second round to the panelists to make comments. So, anyone from the audience who would like to make a comment or share their experience or preferences? Yeah, please. So, you have the
Good evening, everybody. So I am happy to hear the talk from the lecturers as well as the students. I want to say one thing. I started writing blog from 2009. After that, I have increased my creative writing. It surely increased. But suddenly, now a few days before, I saw that they are going to close Google Plus. So the blog, as well as the blog, we thought it is ours, but it is not ours. It is virtual. Suddenly, if the blog is blocked, then we have to keep a hot copy also. We are keeping a hot copy so that when it becomes, it is not ours, then we depend only on the papers. So I think that is very essential. For business-like reading, we can use e-book. For our close reading, our personal attachment, we should rely only upon books. And also, now I was reminded about my marriage that I want to share with you. From school days itself, I used to read. So when I got engaged with my husband for marriage, I gave him a book in which the heroine reflects my character. So I told him, you please read the book, you can understand how I feel. So I don't know whether he read it or not. In that age he told, I like this character. I don't know whether he truly liked, but it gave an excitement for me. It was easy to make him understand my character. Rather than explaining, by reading he understood me very much. So I am very happy to hear the talk on this. Thank you.
Thank you. Personal experiences are all attached to somehow the print books. You don't see that personal attachment to e-books. None of our younger colleagues or faculty brought out a sense of belonging and a sense of attachment. I don't know whether it would be correct to say that while e-books are utilitarian, they are very good at that. But then, when you want more than utility, it is probably the print books that come in. But any more comments? We would like to have more comments from any of the younger people. Students, please, would you stand up and get counted? No need to hesitate. You can stand up and get counted. Say what you feel. No? It's not like texting. But it's like texting. You can stand up and say, you will be part of a group. Right? Okay? No? I see a lot of people but still hesitating. So would you please overcome your hesitation, come forward and state what you feel. Okay, so we conclude that authorship is more difficult. Whether you would like to say something? Sure. But let me interject.
All the world's religions depend upon the holy books, and I believe they are not e-books, but they are written books. At least they have been put in the written form. If we eliminated the written content or the novel-looking books, I wish the world religions would change dramatically. Their interpretation would change. The books always have carried a aura of sacredness in all the religions, especially the holy books. So we should stick to the printed material at times or handwritten materials at times. Give due respect.
I agree with this point, but again, it is that plus beyond information. We all know in what reverence books are kept. For example, Sri Guru Granth Sahib is carried on head. Go to where a part is going to take place. So it is covered properly and it's carried on head. I don't think anybody would be carrying its e-version, e-version on head. So yes, there are there are traditions which are attached to the books. There are traditions which are attached to the book. People who study from Ramayana, they bow and do namaskar. People bow to their books. They bow to Bhagavad Gita. They bow to Ramayana. So I don't think the same feeling is evoked if that same text is available to you on an e-book platform. So you raised a very important point. It's what we are trying to say. Books are experience. They are part of our history. They are part of our evolution. They are part of our tradition. They are not merely holders of a content. So books are more than a content. They are part of tradition. Thank you for pointing out that. So anyone who now thought that being an author has become a little easier? Yes. Wonderful to see.
Just did mention about the controller feature of the ebooks being very facilitating and helping them to search for whatever they want. But I feel that no book has one particular passage that you would always want to search. So any book, if you feel it's close to your heart and you want to search for something, then it has more than one passage that you would like to see at times when you really want to search for something. So when you use the controller feature, it redirects you to that particular passage which you are looking for. But when you have the printed version, when you flip through the pages, you also come across other passages that you might have highlighted previously for some other purposes, but then they might prove insightful to you at that point of time, because you never know, because each book, each passage, every letter, every word, the author conveys one particular meaning, and then as Mithul rightly pointed out, so the rest of it is up to the reader to figure out what it is. So the situations really have an impact on how you understand the passage. So this feature is eliminated if you start using ebooks and use the controller feature to get to one particular point and neglect the other passages which might actually prove to be more useful to you. And one more point regarding the use of ebooks is that when I visit someone, when I visit someone's home or when I visit someone's personal library, it's what I see that gets stored in my mind. So if you have a very good ebook library, I don't know what you're reading. So you might be a good reader, you might be someone who chooses the best of books that are available, but then you're not doing any better to the humanity by suggesting it to me. You're not going to voluntarily come and suggest to me, but if I visit your house and I see books stacked all over and I see a particular book and I say, oh, this guy reads this book, so this has to be better or this has to be good. So it makes an impression on me if you have a print book. If you have an ebook library, it doesn't matter how great books you read, you just read it for yourself. You can always share it, of course, obviously, as someone pointed out, sharing it is easier. Again, you only share it with people who you know, or you only share it with people that you want to, but with printed copies of books, when I visit and I take a look at it, involuntarily it gets shared, and I think that's the main purpose of books in the first place, to spread the message across the world, and then this serves the purpose. And again, for print books, one more thing is that we can have multiple books open at the same time, so you can cross-referencing, as someone pointed out, it's easier to search for a word or something in ebook, yeah, agreed, but then if I have to go through different versions of the same book, different editions of the same book, or different works of the same author, or different works on the same subject, then I'll not probably buy 6 or 7 Kindles to do that, but I'll probably have 6 or 7 printed books.
You would like to react to that, sure.
First of all, what happens is you can. If I have a physical book, I wouldn't want to see it highlighted in multiple pages. But what you can do with the ebook, you can actually highlight it, and it won't be like highlighted, but you'll set a bookmark, which you can't do with the physical copy. You can't just go on keeping bookmarks and each and every passage you like. But you can do it with the ebook. And another thing, you don't need multiple Kindles to have multiple books open. A single Kindle can have multiple books open, and it will also save your progress. And another thing, a library of books you've read is pretty pointless. If you've read a book, please go and share it with someone else. A library of books you haven't read is much more viable for you. So yeah, again, that speaks a lot about that person, but I just wanted to point out that a library of books is
So again, highlighting on printed books need not necessarily mean highlighting them with a highlighter or underlining with a pen, pencil, or something like that. So reading a book is something that is about your memory. So I read a book, if I'm going to search for something, I'm not probably going to search for where I have highlighted it with red or where I have highlighted with yellow, but I'm probably going to try and recollect where I would have read it. Of course, it's difficult when I read a lot of books, but then again, I think that's the point of printed books in the first place. Like it has to be difficult for you to search for something. That's when you have its own value, because there's a lot of information that's available for free now in this world, and too much information is always dangerous. So the difficulty is something that I would not say a very big disadvantage to me using printed books. And what was the other point? Yeah, regarding multiple books opening, open Kindle and saving the progress simultaneously. What I meant was multiple books simultaneously, as in the ability of me to switch between books with ease. Like Kindle does provide that experience pretty well, but I don't think I'd still prefer how I have to switch between different books on Kindle and having multiple books and multiple pages open simultaneously, looking at 2 pages or some sort of experience like that.
Yes.
I'm looking forward to a day when the technology evolves to a point when e-books will become part of memory without our reading it, somehow injected into our DNA or some other means, unknown means in future. That will save a lot of time for the students. In fact, especially preparations for the exams. And all we need is probably some kind of a memory enhancement technique or electronic technique to inject all the content of the book. But will the question will always be there. Will there be enough insight into to understand the subject properly or in the right context? That's something which will come with experience.
Thank you. I think you pointed out something which is futuristic. That would probably obviate, if it happens, the need for books. Because you could download straight here something, if that works, or if there's a segment that connects over which you really, you have imbibed. That's something very, very different. But who knows, even that might happen. So that's a possibility. But then, whether it's e-books or any other kind of books, really, if information can be directly transmitted and stored and operationalized through our biological structures, that would be an entirely different revolution. Sure. Okay, but let me now switch back to my panelists and let us look at the print books, societal aspects, social aspects of print books. What is it that the print books offer that the e-book does not offer has been said. The point is, if it were pure information and communicating that information over long distances, easily sharing it in a Zippy and going back to the previous references and context, then clearly e-books win the day because they work fast. But then books have been somehow part of our life. They have been objects. And there, if at least my own view is that every book has a physical presence, a personality, besides its content and information content. Besides how it impacts me intellectually, there is a visual impact of a book. Its binding, its pages, its location, it's a physical object. And so you see this kind of a layout which creates a social occasion for all of us to come, visit, stroll across, go. I'm sure all that could have been done in a e-framework as well, but not like this experience that we are having now. So that way, books have, the print books being physical objects, each one has a personality, not in terms of its content personality, but also the sort of print quality, the paper quality, the way its binding has been done, the sizing has been done, all of that. So I think let us also reflect upon the fact that in a social sense, how do books relate to us, which somehow the e-books don't seem to do, because e-books, the object, physical object on which that e-books write is still the same computer. So it is the same thing, whether it's a cell phone or whether it's a computer screen or whether it is your iPad or whatever, the physical object is the same. But if you see around here, you see a large number of physical objects to which you can relate physically. They are different. It almost looks like a garden, not a screen where different flowers keep coming. So could I request the panelists to quickly spend a minute to share their feelings on that issue and highlight some other points which they may have not presented earlier, which they would have as a result of cross-fertilization of ideas. They would like to put something. So let me begin from extreme left.
So as a reading, if I am looking at my WhatsApp, I'm reading. I'm looking at my Facebook or LinkedIn on my mobile phone, it's a reading. But if I do that, my children also wanted an iPad to spend their time. But if I pick up a book by a great author, they see me that, sir, daddy is reading something. They may look for a book rather than looking for a gadget. Even though I'm reading a book or my work or whatever, so when the physical thing comes, it gives a message how you act, and it is passage to the next generation also this way. It inculcates a good habits kind of thing, although because they are not so able to understand what I'm doing there, or I'm not wasting my time. However, when I'm reading it, they feel that yes, reading is a good and one should do it. Thank you.
I think you mentioned a very important message. The very fact that you carry a book sends a message to the environment. If you are holding a book, that sort of in some sense reflects your personality. Just the act of carrying a physical book with your friend seeing its title, the author, title of the book and the author tells their friend something about you, which would not happen if you are carrying a laptop or an iPad. So unless they talk to you and you tell them what you are reading, probably they will not know who you are. So the physical books definitely score on that point. There you have to communicate and tell, I read this book, I also recommend you read it. But here, the very act of carrying that. So I do remember when I was a bit student, guys, I was a bit student long back. In 1969-70, there were intellectual types who would carry certain books. I don't know whether they read them. I hope they did. But the very fact that they carried those books gave a message to others. Yeah, here is somebody who reads about so and so or works of so and so. Okay, so
and one very important thing about print books is that, like, we live in India, where a lot of children don't have access to education. So, like, supposing that they'll have access to e-books is, I think, very ambitious. Like, before that, I think we should, like, if we want to spread education, the first step would be to get them access to print books. And so is the case with a lot of, like, third world countries like Africa and like Zimbabwe and other countries. Like, e-books come in a very handy for, like, the people who can afford them. Like as many of us can, and people in US and stuff. But if we talk about spreading education, I think print books play a very like a very important role which ebooks can only like dream of fulfilling.
Thank you. So we go next to Dr. Vaidyam.
Actually, I just want to address one concern, regarding the share. Am I audible? Is it share? Yeah. That people said that, when you are carrying the book, others can see what you are reading and they can see your bookshelf. I think something similar is already happening in the reading social media. Although I am not a part of any such social media, but there is a community called Goodreads where people, I am not a part of, although I am reading Kindle, but I am not a part of Goodreads community. So in fact, and most people who read Kindles or ebooks are actually a part of such community. So in fact, people are sharing what they are reading and people are aware of either of what they are reading. And let me tell you that, although I have shifted to reading Kindle and ebooks, I still buy a lot of print books because not always ebooks are available. And particularly for the technical books, the Kindle has not yet evolved to a stage where it can give you the same reading experience of a mathematical book as that of non-mathematical book, because when you zoom in, the equations don't zoom in. Okay, but I have my concern regarding when there was this debate about the environmental aspect of the electronic gadget waste and the print book aspect waste. Okay. I am not aware of really any study. I think this is something which should be looked into. I tend to believe that the electronic gadgets like Kindle, I don't know into what fraction they add to the overall electronic waste, because the bulk of electronic, I think, waste doesn't really come from the ebook readers. So reducing that will not significantly change the bulk of electronic waste. And I think when you look into the trees being cut for the paper, I think one should not just compare it with the trees being cut for the print books, but the books need to be transported physically. Okay, then you go in your car or scooter to the mall or shop to buy the book, you bring it back. Even if you take it to a kabadi wala to send it second hand, you again drive your motorbike, the other person who buys it from there again transports the book back to the home. So although the book passes several hands, but passing each hand happens through some mode of transport. And I think all that cost must be factored in. And I have a suspicion that perhaps, the environmental impact of the print books, I love them. I mean, notwithstanding that, I am a huge fan of myself. I have grown up in an era, and I said I have now run out of my bookshelf preserving my print books. But I am just concerned that is it just a matter of my personal preference, or, for example, the rich people can afford buying sports car, which they can afford to buy the petrol for their cars, but can the planet afford to give the planet petrol to them? So we can afford to buy print books, but I think can the planet afford to, cut the trees to give us I think that's the question. That's a very important question. And I think this waste between the electronic and print needs to be critically looked into, I think. So that we rise, and there is one more small point I would like to share. So, in the photography community, people have obsessions about the cameras and the old cameras, and and they have an obsession about the gear. Okay. So people who are into photography, they tend to buy the new cameras, they keep buying the lenses, the cameras, the accessory. So there is a term which is called GAS, Gear Acquisition Syndrome. Okay. And there was this famous legendary photographer, Henri Cartier-Bresson, the street photographer. He said that I think, we must distinguish the means from the purpose. So he said that the camera is only a means to capture the art. So camera actually comes in the way of capturing the art. So one should not give the camera more importance than what it's supposed to. It's a means towards capturing the art. So I think no matter, I actually am equally enamored to all these print books, but I think slightly going beyond that romantic value, ultimately it's a means towards, it's a window into the author's mind. And I would want to focus on what the book does to me beyond this, physical romance. And I would say at that level, I would say print and ebooks are, ebooks do not falter in offering the value over there. So yeah, I think that's my point.
Thank you. So we really had very, very interesting points. So let us go further, and let me ask Mithul.
As I rightly pointed out, even BITS realizes this fact of pages affecting the environment. Every handout has the bottom line which says, "Do not print this unless needed." So this is one thing where ebooks do fare better than the printed books. But printed books, I think. For me, the most important, not the most important one, but one of the important things that print books do is that they play a very good role of an icebreaker. So if I am in a social setting where I might be stuck for a long time, and if I see a person reading a book and I'm sitting on the other side, and if I've read the book, I can just see what book is and what author is, and I can talk about, so we will have a conversation, we have something to talk about. On the other hand, if someone is reading a book on their phones or on their iPad or whatever, me looking into their iPad would seem a bit nosy and intruding, if I may. So that is one social aspect where I think print books fare better. And as Gaurav and the person were having an argument about, I don't really think it's this or that. I think it's both, and also it comes down to the person's personal choice. If he is more comfortable reading on printed books, then so be it. And if he is preferring ebooks, then good for him. To each his own. And one final thing which and again I would like to talk about the print books is if you're reading books which have been handed down over generations, it's like you're talking to all the people who've read those. So there's some shelves of old books vanished in hall number 6 of the library where the pages are rotten and everything, and then you can still see comments of people who've read those books. And some books have been issued in 78 and they've said things about those books. And when you read them, the books and the comments through, it's like you're having a conversation with that people over generations, which I don't think will be possible with printed with ebooks. And one more interesting thing which happened this morning, I think Anushka shared something on Instagram, a snapshot of the book she bought from Runta, and so I would like her to talk about it. And it is something which would not be possible in an ebook. So that is a very interesting story I would like her to talk about. And so.
Thank you, Mithul. I think you raised a very, very important point. It is very true that if somebody is reading a book, then looking at the title and striking conversation with that person if you feel interested, is definitely easier if it is a physical book. It's a print book. So the print books in that sense connect people. They build support society. But you're absolutely right. You would look nosy if somebody is reading an e-book or is engaged with his cell phone. And for that reason, you do know today in families, members of the family keep their cell phones locked. So I do know of cases where wives do not have the password of the husband's cell phone, and there is this always a curiosity, what is it that he reads? So believe me, it is true today. So the electronic medium somehow seems to make us socially self-centric. So you really have a virtual community you are connected to, but you are not connected to your immediate environment, you are engrossed, and others look nosy if they try to sort of get in, and at times you will say, why are you looking at it? Because that medium somehow, makes you be more sort of not very open, more closed, leave me alone, don't intrude into my sphere, that kind of thing. But okay, let's go ahead and let us hear the story from Anushka that he referred.
So I bought a book from Roomta yesterday for microelectronics, and I was shuffling through the book, shuffling through the pages, and I saw one note from, I don't know who that person was or how old that person was, or was it just my immediate senior or a student of BITS in the last decade, I don't know that. There was a note written that please read this book well, otherwise the only thing you would be able to do during the compre is to write a note for your book son or book daughter. Dash 25 minutes more to kill for the compre. Next is you. So microelectronics then. So that was my story, and I gained a quite amount of likes on Instagram for that. But anyway, I'd like to take this opportunity to put in my final thoughts also. I'm not sure it's my turn, but still. So a lot has been said about the convenience of the ebook because, well, there is so much to say. The costs have also been mentioned. Costly Kindles, broken Kindles, electronic waste, radiation, no holiness or sanctity about the ebooks, or the lack of social circle that it does not provide. I think the last, that is the lack of provision of social circle, is the most dangerous thing. And but obviously it is very subjective. Everybody will have their own preferences, and I'm pretty sure that if I put an argument in favor of one, it will give birth to a counter argument in favor of the other. So I don't think that any one of us can put a finger and say that this is better than that. So I wouldn't want to do that either. But when I talk about myself, I don't mind using ebooks when I have to, but I'm not as comfortable with them as print books, and I'm not sure if I ever will be. So do I think that ebooks will be the future thing and there won't be any print books in the future? I don't think that will happen anyway in probably another century or so. I don't know. So yeah, that's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Anushka. And I teach microelectronics as one of the subjects. Interestingly, this culprit subject, at least within our country, Siri was the source for this, and I was the source for that source working there. So a lot of blame is my over. I would rather wonder whether he was one of my students. But coming on a lighter note, books were used for passing hidden notes among friends. Right? Well, let me just make a comment on what Professor Rishikesh Vaidya said. The content of e-books requires a big infrastructure to transport. So you have a big infrastructure which we really don't normally see, but the entire communication infrastructure has been created with a lot of cost to the environment, and its operation also costs a lot to the environment. And the electronic waste is very difficult to recycle, whereas the paper waste is much easier to recycle. Of course, they do have toxic chemicals that are there that go into the print material, but even then, perhaps, but it's not scientific, so I really don't know the answer. But there is a huge infrastructure of communication that on which the e-books ride. So while the e-book doesn't seem so destructive of the environment, but the entire infrastructure that has been built to support not only e-books, it is for other communication and other purposes, data exchange and whatnot, but e-books ride on that. So they have to have a portion of the blame has to also be apportioned to them. But then
when you said the communication is quite extensive, but for instance, suppose if we tomorrow stop this e-books, would it be a significant difference? Because I think the backbone is there, it is riding on that backbone. So the real question then becomes that, what fraction of the sources of that backbone is being used by the e-book? So is that fraction of the source, suppose if we stop the e-books altogether completely, then would it change anything in the communication infrastructure?
No, because if people still keep downloading movies and music and everything else, then the share is actually small. But when you apportion sources, you do apportion the fixed infrastructure also. So let's say 5% or maybe less would be apportioned in terms of infrastructure cost. But then that itself would be substantial. Because there is a huge infrastructural cost in terms of materials, in terms of carbon footprint for all telecom and all that. But let's say if e-books are 1% of that or whatever, then that percentage would get apportioned. And that would still be quite large. But let us hear Professor Devika.
From a serious eco issue, let us come back to something that is very light. When I'm reading an e-book and if I am reading a print book and it has a font of 10 or 8, I cannot change that and I'm very angry with that. When I'm reading it on e-book, I can change the font 8 to 14 immediately and then change even the font type. So that is one benefit that I enjoy because sometimes I find it difficult to read 8 font in print. Now, when we come to the next thing, somebody pointed out that it was indicated that way. If you have a book with you or in your hand, I can ask you, okay, dikhana, and then I can browse through that. But you have an electronic gadget with you, you cannot dare even think that because there is a sophisticated limit to that. You are not assumed or you are not supposed to take the electronic equipment of the people because that's not exactly a book. So that is another thing. The most important thing that I have learned in my life is that when a book in physical form is there, you learn so many other things. I take my example only. I have books in my house related to aeronautics, so I know many of the parts of the aeroplanes. Because the book is there, so the temptation to go through and flip through that this particular thing is there. Aerodynamic body is there, ailerons are there, now power engines are there, some of this particular sort. My son is very fond of pictorial books, so I know that Paratius Rex is supposed to be part of it, and then that is how it's supposed to be there. How many types of fish are there, what is the minute difference, vertebrate and all that, simply because they are there, and I have that temptation. It's not that if I have an e-book access, then I would have gone for those books, never. And when we're pointing, somebody pointed out about the religious books. I have read Gita, Bhagavad Gita, and I have also read Bible. Not because I am a hardcore religious person, because I have them in a physical form. I could not read Quran or the Guru Granth Sahib because I do not have a physical, it doesn't mean I do not have an e-access to that, but I never thought of that. So this is something, star constellations and palmistry, heroes palmistry, and something like that, the picture of a Dorian Gray, something that is not exactly, I'm a literature person, not at all associated with literature, but then I have gone through all of them simply because they were there in a form which I could easily access, and it has added to that. Another simple observation when I am reading something on e-book or that, and anybody comes and then say, close it, let's talk about something else. If you are reading a book, the normal question is, kya padh rahe ho? Now that particular curiosity to share is something that I find very fascinating, and you're well connected to that person. The moment you share an idea, whatever small might be, the sense of fulfillment, satisfaction, sharing is much fulfilling at that point. So I conclude with that.
Thank you for highlighting that very important point, that physical books are inviting because they are objects. They are physical objects with color, feel, and so you look around and you get connected and you get attracted and you feel like going seeing. That doesn't happen, unfortunately, with e-books. That's very true. But then let us go ahead further and let us ask God.
Okay, first of all, I just hope I don't live long enough to see a day where books can be downloaded in our head, because reading is an experience and it, without a doubt, is enriched when you're reading a physical book. But I like to drop this whole books thing, talk about something else. Just how many of us today actually read a newspaper? Wasn't that used to picking up a newspaper and flipping through it and nodding or shaking your head at it? But that doesn't mean that we're not well aware of the news. We have an app called InShorts which says, hey, you want the news? We'll give it to you in 50 words or less. 60 seconds and you have a headline and you're well aware of the topic. We'll give you 10 news per hour. So that is the future. And this is another example. There are videos in USA of the chain called Blockbuster. 20 years ago, what happened was Blockbuster was a very successful business and Netflix came up. What Netflix did was they were giving people video on demand, and the CEO of Blockbuster had the chance to buy Netflix. He refused it. He didn't think it would be a successful venture, and he didn't think the video on demand or the format would be able to take over his video cassettes or DVD lending out service. Today there's only one Blockbuster in USA and Netflix is a multi-billion-dollar company. It saddens me to say this, but I think sooner or later ebooks would win, because feasibility would have to win over the romanticism that a physical book offers.
Thank you. I think you raised a very important point that utilitarian aspect ultimately will take over emotional aspects. That has been seen in many spheres in life. But then there are diehards who would defend, and there are people who would continue. So that's.
There might also be a future where wealthy people own hardcovers like wealthy people today own records.
So, what Gaurav seems to say is that e-books will come to the fore and the print books will become relics. We don't know, the jury is still out on that, but let us hear what Jennifer has to say.
So, if at this point of time, still if you ask me the question, do you prefer print books or e-books, I would definitely stick to my point that I prefer printed books. Okay, so one thing is that anyone can just walk into this exhibition without any idea what book he's going to buy and still get a good book and go home. So I need not require any prerequisite to visit an exhibition and still I get a good book. But in case of e-books, if you see, I have to use the right search word or the keyword to get the book what I want. So only if the keyword is right, you will get a good book. But in case of a exhibition or printed books, you can just walk into a room without any idea and still get a good book. So that is one of the important point. And then one point I wanted to add is, like, e-books are recent, so whatever content you get is recent. So, but if you want to have some historical references, still print books will dominate all the historical references. So if you want to read something like pretty old, definitely printed books are going to help you. And one point I can say on ebooks side is that I will read a printed book for the first reference or something, but quickly if I have to go to a class, take some topic and I need to make a quick reference, ebook will be very convenient for me. So I can't just go search the index, find the topic and then clear my doubt out. Instead, I can just quickly do a ebook reference. So for quick referencing, definitely ebook will be preferred. But when Giridhar sir gave me this topic, one analogy came to my mind. Earlier days we used to have cameras, we used to print photos. Okay, so it's not just printing. After a few years, we take that album out, we race through the pictures and we get a very good memory. But recently we are having like digital cameras, we have thousands and thousands of pictures, but nobody, I don't think, they look back what they have got. They are dormant in their laptops and nobody is looking that back. The same is the printed books and e-books. We might save space by having e-books and storing them in our laptops, but definitely are we going back to them, are we reading them back? It's a question, I think. So I would like to conclude with that point.
Thank you, Jennifer. I think anything gets devalued if there is a profusion of them. I think the electronics era has actually caused a profusion of all information, books, what have you, prints, everything is available like that, and therefore it's not valued. But I do believe that, like fairs continue, we all go to a fair, Diwali Mela, right now also there is a Mela going on, right? It's for fun, it is for social interaction, it is for just watching things around, what's happening, not with a pointed objective as you said. You rightly pointed out, you can walk into a hall like this without knowing what you want to buy. Just go hang around, see something, maybe you like something, maybe you like two, maybe you like none, maybe you chat, maybe you look. That kind of an experience is not possible with all the electronic media. So it's a very good kind of the information content, its transmission, etc. And presentation in some sense is also very good, but it's not a medium for a fair, it's not a medium for an exhibition. And world, let me conclude, is an exhibition. Thank you very much. We had a great audience, we had very interested people. I am aware that many of the students walked back because it is dinner time or they will miss dinner.
Seats. I requested the librarian, Mr. Giridhar Kunkur, to distribute the gift vouchers to the panelists. First to Professor Chandrasekhar. Next to Professor Pratik Sheth. Next, Professor Devika. Professor Jennifer Ranjini. Professor Rishikesh Vaidya. Gaurav Sharma. Soumitra Rai. Mitul Sharma. And Anushka Gupta.